Well, we had a pretty good first half. For their thoughts on what has transpired so far, let's return to Frank Clair Stadium in Lansdowne Park. Here are John and Glenn. Guys?
Darren, just like I told Glenn Suter at the start of this tonight, I told you Ottawa was going to be close at halftime, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if that's exactly the way you phrased it, but hey, it's a good football game so far. The Ottawa Rough Riders are playing pretty well. They're moving the ball offensively, and if you can eliminate those mistakes, they're ahead in this ball game right now. I mean, you take away the 3 interceptions that Steve Taylor has thrown, and they put up some more points, and they're probably ahead right now.
The one interception right in the dying seconds of the opening half cost Ottawa 3 points and the lead at halftime. Time of possession is favoring Ottawa as it stands right now, so they've kept Glutie off the field a little bit, or at least did for a while in the early going in the half.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, you know what, with Doug Glutie and these Toronto Argos, I think it's sort of like a bomb. And so far in the first half, there's a long fuse.
Hasn't exploded.
But that fuse is getting shorter and shorter. You just get the feeling that Doug Glutie's ready to explode. Hopefully for the Ottawa Rough Riders, it'll be later instead of sooner.
It's a 1-point ball game right now. Glutie and the Argonauts are ready to go.
Obviously,
Elvis is in the building. The Ottawa Rough Riders are only down by a point.
So they're going up into the audience to meet all of you.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. There's a prize for every touchdown and interception during TSN telecast. Prizes like MasterCard Traveler's Checks from Bank of Montreal, Macassa Stoneware and the Lifestyle Pattern, Minolta Compact Zoom Binoculars, or Timex Watches with Indiglo Nightlight. Or win a trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta courtesy of Canadian Holidays, Canada's largest vacation company. Safeway feature products: General Foods International Coffee, Imperial Margarine. Touchdown to Win at Safeway, today's better way.
Introducing new chocolate fudge O'Henry, the O'Henry that's loaded with chocolate. New chocolate fudge O'Henry, the O'Henry that's so chocolatey.
Captured live in the opening half in Ottawa, Jeff Cummins of the Rough Riders, the left defensive end, a former Argo. Cummins had a pretty good half. He was everywhere. Used his head. Jeff Cummins, a couple of sacks coming into the season. We're underway with the second half in Ottawa. This is Jimmy Cunningham. Fakes the reverse to the pinball, and Cunningham has room up the middle. Finally dragged down by Lamley as the kicker gets into things. 32-yard return for Jimmy the Jet. And Glutie is ready to go, hitting on 67% of his passes coming into this one tonight. 13 of 21 for 180 yards. Had one picked off. It was a tip that ended up in Tommy Henry's hands. Steve Taylor good on 50% of his passes in the first half. Argos begin at the 51 with a first down. This is Drummond. And Birch is there, another ex-Argo, number 90.
You know, Swift, Birch wants to have a good game, former Argo, and last year he led the team in sacks in Toronto with 8 sacks. He's joined by Jeff Cummins, who we saw live at the half, and both those guys from the Toronto Argonauts want to have good games. The bookends up front for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Second down, 4 to go, and Drummond should have the first down. Zizakovic is in there.
It's interesting to see how Doug Glutie and Don Matthews gone back to the game plan. You know, a lot of the success they've had throughout the years combining the running game in Robert Drummond and Mike Clemens with the great passing abilities of Doug Glutie. And I think they kind of abandoned that in the first half. Came back in the second half, going to establish that running game again and get in some second and short situations. Help out Flutie in his play calling.
Argos first down inside Ottawa territory. Play action, nice fake. Fairholm couldn't bring it down. Leonard Humphreys was close to the interception, not quite.
And while we had just talked about him, but it was Swift Birch who actually comes up and jumps up high enough to make Doug Glutie throw that ball high where Humphreys can almost get a crack at it. Swift Birch is going to come from the left of your screen. Flutie fakes the handoff to Drummond, little play action, but Birch was not fooled. You see when he goes up there and gets to the top of his vertical jump, Flutie had to throw the ball up and over, and went over the hands of Jeff Fairholm.
2nd and 10, Toronto. Glutie moves to the shotgun with 4 receivers to the near side, and he's looking in this direction. Cunningham couldn't bring it down. It was Humphreys, number 23 on the coverage on Jimmy Cunningham, number 86.
Now the first play, he almost got a gift when he got the tip from Jeff Fairholm. This time just great coverage. Jimmy Cunningham has tremendous speed. Now Humphreys has to respect that, stay off him, and then when the ball's in the air, just make sure when Cunningham deflects it up, he doesn't get another shot at it on the rebound. Humphreys makes the tackle.
Vanderjagt is in, standing at his 47. This is Robert Gordon waiting at the 5. Straight ahead. He's across the 15. Brendan Rodgers leading the Argo tacklers one more time. Steve Taylor gets his hands on the football when we return.
If you want full office suite power at a word processor price, look no further than Corel WordPerfect Suite. Corel WordPerfect Suite includes an exceptionally intelligent word processor, an award-winning spreadsheet, amazing presentation graphics, plus business graphics and utilities, hundreds of fonts and thousands of clip art images. Corel WordPerfect Suite delivers office suite power at a word processor price.
In the future, Zach, Canadians will call this crushing a party. Amanda.
Jacques, are you mad? Father is right there.
And you must be Lucy.
Jacques tells me you see the future. Telephones, snowmobiles, true Canadian lager.
What? Guards! Unhand my daughters! Every party has a pooper.
Brought to you by the Bat Blue, true Canadian lager.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. If your name appears below, you may have won $300 in MasterCard Travelers checks from Bank of Montreal. Enjoy unsurpassed acceptance and replacement service worldwide. Now available in 11 major currencies. Or the new Dirt Devil Ultra Handvac. Twice the power and twice the convenience. Now with handy attachments on board and the new Broom Vac. It sweeps and vacuums in one simple step. Touchdown to Win ballots. Available exclusively at all participating Safeway stores.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you in part by Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi has no diet aftertaste. And by the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies. Proud sponsors of the Canadian Olympic team.
Ready for the Rough Rider first down. At the 16, Sean Reed gets the call, and there's nowhere for Reed to go. Ottawa's had to make a lot of adjustments in the offensive scheme of things. Sean Reed is in for Profale Greer, who's on the sidelines right now. Joseph Rogers, the leading receiver, is also on the bench. Reports indicate that Greer has a knee problem. No word on what Rogers' problem is. When you add to the fact that the starting quarterback is also on the sidelines for Ottawa, the Riders are hanging in with a makeshift group out there.
Well, it really makes it amazing, John, that they are playing as well as they are. I mean, their top receiver, Joseph Rogers, is out. Profale Greer has an ankle problem. He is out. Had a great game last week. So, boy, it's amazing they're hanging in here.
Taylor will put it up on 2nd and 9. He has Hess, and he'll have a first down. Held on after a hit. Courtney Griffin was there, number 26.
Well, it's a sandwich job on Bill Hess. Courtney Griffin comes from one side, Ken Benson the other. It's amazing. He hung on to that football. Makes a nice catch coming across all the way across the field. And here comes the hit. Reggie Gibbons coming as well to help out on the hit. There's 3 of them. See Courtney Griffin, 26 in the bottom there, and that was a big hit on Bill Hess. He kept concentration, hung on to the football.
And Hess is down on one knee in the Ottawa huddle. He 15.
He jumped up immediately after the hit. That's just this little psychological games going on. I mean, he just jumped up, say, hey, you didn't hurt me, and then when he gets in behind the huddle and is hidden a little bit from the defense, kind of works that kink out of the shoulder that he just took the hit on.
Rogers, we understand now, number 83, Joseph Rogers, has a shoulder problem. Rafael Greer has an ankle problem and won't be back. Neither of the 2 starters there. So John Payne is making adjustments as he goes. And now Bill Hess is on the sideline, so that means James Ellingson is in.
Well, yeah, when I first saw that Joseph Rogers was out, I was wondering if it's just that he was mad because his buddy David Archer wasn't in. Oh. But obviously that's not the case.
It certainly is not. I just want everyone to know who said that.
Well, I was only kidding there. And you know Robert Gordon is going to have to come up with a big night when those 2 guys are out.
First down, Ottawa. Here comes the heat. Taylor can't get away. Giles, number 94, ran him down. Giles gets a start with Alex Gordon on the sidelines. The loss is 17 yards.
Yeah, Giles, number 94, right here, and you just follow him and watch him on the pass rush, working on Chris Burns to the front side. He just gets off when Steve Taylor has to break containment and then tracks him down. Steve Taylor didn't have anyone downfield even to throw the ball away, so he had to take that hit and take the loss. Oscar Giles, of course, in for Alex Gordon, who was a late scratch because of back spasms.
Second and way too much for Steve Taylor. He lost 17 in the previous play. Can't find anyone open, and he's down again. Reggie Gibbons got to him this time.
Well, we had just talked about what happens when Rafael Greer and Joseph Rogers are out of the lineup. I mean, on both those last 2 plays, Steve Taylor had pretty good time to throw the football. He scrambled, bought some more time on his own. This is the second of the 2 on second down. You see him has time initially. No one's open. Now he has to take off to his left. No one's still open. He wants to turn back and throw across the field. Again, no one open. And of course, Reggie Gibbons finally runs him down. But when you lose your number 1 receiver like John Payne has, those other guys have to pick it up, or else it's going to be a long second half for Steve Taylor trying to find a guy down the field.
They've already lost field position here with Lamley standing in the end zone. Argos will take over near midfield and very likely on Ottawa's side. Cunningham, the lone Argonaut, deep. Big charge. Nemeko got there. This will be an Argo touchdown. Eaglin came through to grab it. And he has Toronto's touchdown. First of the second half.
Well, what a rush by George Nemeko off the side. Backup safety, but a big special teams guy. And 21 gets the block. Greg Eaglin comes up with the recovery. Eaglin could have been one of about 4 or 5 Argos that were in the end zone when that ball hit the turf. But you know when Don Matthews gets this kind of a field position, it's all-out rush for the Argos. You see Don Wilson 20, and right from the left of your screen was George Nemeko. He comes over with the big block. Eaglin picks up the touchdown.
They made that play look rather routine. The block, one bounce, touchdown.
Nemeko bounce pass to Eaglin.
And the Argos have added to their lead. Eaglin in the end zone celebrating after the blocked punts.
Nebs is a direct marketer. Things like checks and forms and business cards and labels. You know, being in a small town doesn't hinder our business at all. The majority of our customers use either the Advantage toll-free phone or fax lines.
And really, the 1-800 lines are the lifeline between us and our customers. We've had an increase of about 35%.
If our 1-800 lines went down, we'd be out of business.
Advantage, providing solutions for business.
Forbidding terrain.
75 AWOL heartbeats. Second thoughts. One leap of faith. 140-story drop and 2 loose screws. Equals 100% pure adrenaline. For all you do, this bud's for you.
You gotta tell me what it is. You gotta tell me the truth about this thing here. Truth about this thing here.
We're all on our own. Can a bank help?
George Namaco went to Laurentian High School in Ottawa. He has blocked the punt to give the Argonauts an 8-point lead.
And for his reward, he gets to cover the kickoff.
Henry calls for it at the 11. And he's out near the 29.
Just take another look at how George Namaco comes up with this block on the punt. This Sangaris is the left number 94, the right tackle. Now he just whiffs George Namaco as he goes by, and then Namaco times his jump perfectly and lays out for the punt. Greg Eaglin gets the bounce pass.
Yeah, one hopper. That's pretty darn amazing there. Ottawa Rough Riders struggling to find some kind of respectability in 1996. They had a pretty good first half, but they're limping through the second half here with 3 regulars out of the offensive scheme. This is Sean Daniels. Waldrop brought him down, number 92. Daniels has a couple.
Well, it's a big series for the Ottawa Rough Riders. They played well in the first half, and now they've had some adversity. You always have to respond from adversity and come back with a drive of your own. Steve Taylor has to get one here, get some momentum back.
Willie Hinchcliffe flanks to the near side. Robert Gordon to the far side of the field. Second down. 8 to go. Rough Riders at the 31. Taylor for Billy Hess. He got one hand on it. Taylor really rifled that one and paid the price. Andrew Stewart was all over him as he released.
Well, that time Toronto came with some pressure. I mean, you see Reggie Givens up there from his middle linebacker position coming on the blitz. He blows by Chris Burns, and Andrew Stewart, the late pressure up the middle, actually gets the hit on him. But there was pressure coming from the linebacking core. You saw the panel talked about that before the game, that the Argos may go to that. They didn't really in the first half, but they certainly have now here in the second half.
Lamley at his 16. That's Jimmy Cunningham. Short kick. And Lamley comes down, almost comes up with it. I don't think he got the ball, however. Lamley charged in there. There are flags on the field.
Well, the flags are flying right now because the referees aren't sure at this point who was inside that 5-yard restraining zone. Now, Ottawa's going to tell them it was their kicker, Wayne Lamley, so therefore it shouldn't be a penalty.
There's no infraction on the play. The player in the zone was the punter. First down.
And there it is.
How close did he come to grabbing it?
Yeah, he's very close. Kickers are taught if that ball doesn't go that far on the punt, hustle down and try and recover it. Lamley almost comes up with it.
Field position again for Flutie outside his 50, first down. Deep toss. Cunningham made the catch, stayed inbound.
What a catch by Jimmy Cunningham down the sideline. My goodness, Tommy Henry was all over him in pretty good coverage. And he's taller than Cunningham. I mean, Tommy Henry's 6'1", Cunningham 5'7", but Flutie just lays it out there, and watch the concentration. He has to go over his shoulder to the left side with Henry right there. Still comes up with the catch and keeps his feet inbounds. Great concentration by the Jet.
35 yards for Cunningham. Argos now inside the Ottawa 25. Glutie as time just missed Cunningham on the far side. Henry was covering.
Well, I think Doug Glutie initially wanted Mike Clemens downfield. He was out beside Cunningham in the formation working on Melvin Aldridge on the play, but Aldridge did a nice job of covering Clemens, so Glutie went to his safety valve, which was Jimmy Cunningham on the short pattern to the sideline, and Cunningham just couldn't come up with the catch.
Mazzotti to the near side. Cunningham, top of your screen on 2nd and 10 at the Ottawa 23. Glutie, no one home. West had the opportunity. Frank West, number 5, should have made the interception. Markers are down. It's a penalty going against Toronto.
Well, it was offside on, I believe it was Pinball Clemens.
Procedure. Toronto number 31. Decline. Third
Way to
down.
go, Hawkeye.
Well, Mike Clemens was trying to time his roll to the line of scrimmage on the snap. He got off a little bit, tried to get himself back, but was caught. Although Frank West almost came up with the interception, which would have taken away these 3 points right here.
Hitting on 50%, this from 30 yards. Vanderjack missed that one. Shanked it left. So it could have been worse for the Ottawa Rough Riders. And one more for Toronto.
Great football. Great software. Join the winning team. It's unbeatable.
When back pain begins to cramp your style, ordinary pain relievers often aren't enough. Doctors and pharmacists recommend Robaxacet. It combines 2 active ingredients, one to relieve your back pain, the other to relax your tense back muscles. Robaxacet, helping you walk away from back pain.
Did it? Oh! Car not riding as smoothly as you'd like? Well, suspension trouble could be in your struts, your shock, your springs, or your alignment. So, head over to Midas for a free inspection. They'll show you in writing not just what's wrong, but what needs fixing now and what can wait. That way, you get some choice in the matter. It's better than getting jerked around. Midas, the way it should be. Oh, big fella.
Steve Taylor, a surprise starter at quarterback for Ottawa, has hit on 50% of his passes tonight.
And there's a distribution. It's pretty even across the board. And the reason it's not dominant left is because their dominant left slot back, Joseph Rogers, has been out of this football game with a shoulder problem. Or that would look a lot different.
Taylor needs to get something going here. He finds Hinchcliffe, number 82. Wrapped up quickly by Donald Smith, 19.
Well, Hinchcliffe's an interesting story. A guy who's competed in the 1988 Summer and Winter Olympic Games for New Zealand. Was a long jumper in the Summer Olympics in Seoul, and did the 2-man bobsled in Calgary.
A world-class sprinter. But he's fast. The question is still about the hands.
Well, I watched him run in the pregame warm-up, and every stride he takes, he consumes about 3 yards.
Second down, Taylor goes deep for Hess. Got one hand up. Couldn't bring it down with Marcelo Simmons covering. Fans on the far side looking for a penalty on the push by Simmons as
well, they wanted the late hit.
Out.
Yeah, they wanted the late hit at the end of the play. Marcelo Simmons took a chance, kind of cut underneath, and Bill Hess had him. You see Marcelo Simmons cut under. Bill Hess got in behind him, and that was where the fans wanted the penalty for that little push, but he was still in the field of play, so the officials don't call it. Although they may have. That was a close one.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
The play was over at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Ball hit the turf, bounced a little bit, and then he pushed him.
Lamley kicks again, And Cunningham waits. Big kick this time. Chasing Cunningham back near the 25. Has got great jets. Bernard tracked him down at the 41. 16-yard return after a 45-yard punt. Friday it's Calgary versus Hamilton at Ivor Wynne, and then Saturday Saskatchewan and Edmonton. Rounding out this week in Canadian football. Where are you? You're in Edmonton.
I'm in Edmonton for the Saskatchewan Rough Rider game, and I just actually got here from Ottawa from Saskatchewan, where Montreal and Saskatchewan played, and my buddy was honored. Retired his jersey, Dave Ridgway. It's a real nice ceremony.
And actually practiced the old routine?
We did the old hold and kick routine one more time.
This is Drummond. Escaped and should have been caught about 15 yards back. So Ridgway is officially hanging in the rafters at Taylor Field. Is that the deal?
He is.
I mean, at least number 36.
The jersey is in the rafters. Robert Drummond is right here, and he's going to be the recipient of this Doug Glutie screen pass. Just turns around, catches it in behind the lineman, and then see the open up, how the middle of that field opens up for him, and then breaks a couple of tackles and gets a few extra yards on his own.
23 yards. The net gain for Drummond. Another Argo first down. Glutie. Hit him right in the numbers. Tommy Henry right in the back. Masadi was the intended receiver.
Well, Tommy Henry's had an interception tonight and done a nice job of coverage down the field, and it was again there. He had Paul Mazzatti completely, that's what you call throwing the blanket on the receiver. And you know what? Got away with the penalty there. You know, I'm always for the defensive backs whenever it comes down to it, but I think Tommy Henry might have got away with one with that right arm around Mazzatti's back.
Don't get off the fence here, partner. 2nd and 10. Glutie goes again, and Williams comes up with a great catch. Held on. Jacobitz cut him down, but Williams went up, got it, and held on after a pretty good hit. 22 yards the gain.
That's what Don Matthews loves about Tyrone Williams. If you look at his numbers and take him over the season, he's going to be over 1,000 yards this year, but he's got tremendous size, and when Glutie puts this one up high, see how Tyrone Williams goes up and gets it, and he knows he's going to get hit, and Flutie's a little tense because he sees the safety coming across to hit his receiver, Jason Jacobitz. Williams out-jumped him.
Glutie on first down, goes to the corner. Williams again, he's down to the 3. Will Heights forced him out. And Glutie is picking apart this Ottawa secondary right now.
Hey, you know what I find interesting, too, though, is a lot of these passes tonight are going to Tyrone Williams. He has a touchdown tonight, and, of course, last game, the Argos, Tyrone Williams did not catch a pass. So that's the kind of team guy that Doug Glutie is. He likes to spread it around, and it's Tyrone Williams' turn tonight.
Another 22 yards setting Toronto up. At the 2, it'll be impossible almost for Ottawa to stop the Argonauts from here with Drummond and all of the weapons that Glutie has at his disposal. 3 cracks at it from the 2. And Mike Clemens slides under and has the touchdown. The pinball, Mike Clemens, 2 touchdowns tonight.
And you got to love, though, Mike Clemens. I mean, he catches ball and gets initial contact right around the 1.5, 2-yard line, and then crawls into the end zone. He gives you 110% all the time. And here it is again from one of the greatest players in the Canadian Football League. Watch this. First contact right there, and now he just crawls in that extra yard to get the ball into the end zone.
Actually squirted through. He has a 1-yard touchdown, and now a 2-yard touchdown with 3:52 remaining. Third quarter, the Argos are definitely in control of the ball game now.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Mike Clemens, of course, the league's MVP in 1990 when he had 3,300 all-purpose yards that year, which was a CFL record. And then now on his team right now is Doug Glutie, who was the MVP for the next 4 years. So for 5 years, this team right here had the MVP award.
looking again. How do you stop this guy?
Well, middle linebacker has to make the initial contact. He can't hesitate. Ray Bernard, when you're down on the goal line, hesitate a little bit there, and that costs them the touchdown. Middle linebackers have to just shoot the gap and hope they're in the right gap. That time, that little hesitation gave Clements a chance to squirt through.
Couple of touchdowns for the pinball tonight. 4 plays to cover 69 yards, and it didn't take long. 2:03, and Glutie has them in the end zone again. 32-16, Toronto on top of Ottawa.
Well, you got the feeling that this Toronto offense was just ready to explode, and now Ottawa's got to try and stop the bleeding, get a drive of their own, and hopefully get some momentum back.
This is Tommy Henry. Nice return out near the 50. Blaine the Matrician stopped him after a 39-yard return.
Well, Tommy Henry's fired up. Comes over from Toronto last year, and he's had an interception for a touchdown tonight, and then helping out on the kick returns. If you're going to get momentum back, the kick return is one of the best places to do it. Tommy Henry's doing everything he can to keep his team in this one.
Out near midfield at the 54-yard line, Ottawa first down. Steve Taylor has quarterbacked the Rough Riders all night long, with David Archer watching from the sidelines. Has a strike. The Duke, James Ellingson.
Well, I'll tell you why he's laughing. That was such a good catch by the Duke over the middle, is because Andre Bolduc was...
He put his hands up and brought him down, didn't he?
Yeah, he was... Here comes the pass rush. Tim Cofield working on Sean Daniels from the fullback position. Daniels does a nice job and keeps Cofield out of the backfield, but the Duker comes up with a pretty big catch when Andre Bolduc almost knocked it down.
21-yard gain. Taylor rolling to his right, and he has the Duke again. Back-to-back 5 yards this time. Don Smith, should say Donald Smith, made the stop after looks like a 6-yard gain as it stands right now.
Well, James Ellingson had his best year in '92 in Ottawa when he had almost 800 yards receiving. He only averages around 300 a year, but it always seems to be the possession type of catches to keep the first downs going. And he's a veteran and knows with the star receiver Joseph Rogers out of the lineup, he's got to get open, and he has a couple times in this drive.
On second down, Ellingson the target again. This one almost picked off. Ellingson deeper that time, and Taylor missed.
Well, Dan Murphy from the safety position came over to help out on the coverage. Had the ball been thrown a little more to the outside, James Ellingson may have had a shot to get it, but it was kind of up and over the middle, over the shoulder of Ellingson. He has to sort of wait there, and you see Dan Murphy coming from his safety position, goes up and just drops the football, or he gets his 3rd interception of the season.
In a collision elsewhere, Marcelo Simmons and Bill Hess are both down, and the Rough Riders can't afford to lose anyone else. They're down to bare bones on their roster right now if Hess can't come back.
Well, I'm taking a look at my depth chart right here. I mean, James Ellingson ins, Andre Bolduc is in, Joseph Rogers is already out. So Bill Hess, if he is out, which looks like he's going to at least have to be out for 3 plays, and looking at that knee or ankle area of Bill Hess. But I don't see another receiver on the depth chart for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
There isn't one listed. Now, they may have a secret plan.
Well, they likely have one of the defensive backs from the other side that'll come in and play the receiver position, but that's putting a little bit of pressure on that foot.
Hess has had a tough night. He's had a couple of nice catches, but taking big hits after hanging out of the ball. Decent chance that he'll be back as he makes his way to the sidelines.
Now John Payne has to figure out when they get the ball next, who does he put in at the receiver position if Hess can't come back.
Lamley from the 38, and he's on target. Ottawa moves 3 points closer. It's 32-19.
Well, they responded, John. I mean, Wayne Lamley comes in, kicks the 3 points. At least they've responded with a few points, Ottawa has. Now defensively, because seems though defensively is really where they don't have any injuries right now. They got to come out and try and stop Doug Glutie to keep that momentum that they've taken a little bit back up on their side. Try and get Glutie to punt the ball.
Facing the crowd, I don't know who he's cheering for. He's standing beside Lloyd Lewis there, but that's Tracy Ham, #1 quarterback, Montreal Alouettes. 2 hours up the road. I guess he just drove down to catch a little football game tonight. He's got the Owls on a pretty good roll of late.
Sure does. Had some injury problems early in the year. He's had those back spasms, and you see Lloyd Lewis, who was just released this week. He's talking to the old veteran. Couple of veterans talking football on the sideline.
Alouettes are at 4-4 heading into this week. They've moved ahead of Hamilton. Well, not technically ahead of Hamilton, because Ticats have that game in hand to pick up tomorrow night. Lamley's kickoff. Mike Clemens takes it this time. Love to watch this guy run, twists and turns. He's brought down at about the 33. John Payne made a tough decision this week. He was telling us yesterday the veteran Lloyd Lewis was released. He hasn't left the building, one would guess.
Well, Lloyd Lewis took it like a true veteran and real professional. He talked to John Payne. I mean, look at the career numbers that this guy's had. 84 sacks in his career. I mean, during his time, a dominant pass rusher, had a few injury problems and just wasn't getting the pressure that John Payne wanted, so he didn't want to do it, but he had to make the switch.
Drummond here on first down. Zizakovic, number 98, in to make the tackle.
That
Zizakovic was tossed out of the game last week in Winnipeg.
In the first series.
Yeah, first series of plays. He was fined $200 as a result. Fired that helmet down the tunnel. I do remember that. Little option to Drummond. Humphreys got over to trip him up, number 23.
Well, Robert Drummond is becoming a one-man wrecking crew against this Ottawa Rough Rider team, because he's getting 8-10 yards of crack, whether he runs the ball, takes a pitch, or runs a pattern. Doug Glutie runs the option probably better than any quarterback in the league. Fakes to go outside. Swift Birch thinks he is, so he comes down, number 90, to take Glutie, and that allows him to get the ball out to Drummond. And then the safety all the way from the middle of the field has to come over and make the tackle, Jason Jacobus.
Future Rough Rider linebacker on the sidelines. He may be in the game as a receiver before it's over. Glutie is tracked down. Swift Birch got there. On second down, Glutie comes up short.
Swift Birch been on and off the roster because of the injury to Dave Harper, who's also played that the end position defensively for Ottawa. He's on the end of the line right over here. He's going to take off and run. Excuse me, right there, number 90 in your screen right here. There, I got it right. Circle him right there. Now he takes off to the outside and runs down Doug Glutie with the help of Frank West from secondary.
This is third down, a yard to go. Drummond has the first down across midfield and into Ottawa territory. Jacobus made the tackle, and that is the end of the third quarter. As the Argos gamble and win, it'll be first down Toronto when we return for the fourth quarter to Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa.
CFL Live at the Quarter, brought to you by Gillette's $250,000 Triple Play Challenge at a retailer near you.
Welcome to our CFL Control Studio. Coach, one of your keys going into this football game was special teams. You wanted Ottawa to come up with a big play, hence it was the Toronto Argonauts and the block punt and the touchdown by Greg Eaglin.
And that was good coaching by Toronto. They got Ottawa deep in their end, and they came up with a good scheme to get somebody clean and got an easy touchdown on it. And there were a couple opportunities earlier in the game where I thought maybe Ottawa would try and do that type of thing against Vandergent.
Now, that's fun for you because you've been second-guessing all night. Now you finally get a chance to say good coaching. It took you 3 quarters, but now you feel better now, don't you?
You gotta say it
you
like
feel
it
better
is.
now?
You gotta say it like it is, Lee.
I know you feel better.
It's tough enough to beat the Toronto Argonauts when you're a healthy group, but when you're banged up and missing so many starters from your roster, you're really behind the 8 ball.
Well, and I'm not going to knock Steve Taylor. I thought he's played very well so far. But do you think, do you guys bring in Archer at this point for the 4th quarter if he's healthy at all?
Absolutely not. I mean, they've made a commitment at the beginning of this game that David Archer wasn't going to play due to various injuries. And to bring him in at this point not only is unfair to David Archer, it's unfair to the team because if, in fact, he's still going to be their quarterback of the year, you know, they got to have him healthy.
And it's unfair for Steve Taylor, too, because Taylor has played pretty well in this football game.
Not only that, I think it's good for Taylor to get the playing time that he is getting, and if he keeps playing as well as he has tonight, maybe it'll be a good opportunity for him to get playing time so that in future games, maybe they can change the tempo a little bit by bringing in Taylor once in a while to relieve Archer.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts in that first half of football had 7 yards rushing. That was it. They started the second half on the ground, and they're running away with this football game as we return to Lansdowne Park.
Here's how the Argo running backs have fared tonight. Drummond has all the yards and most of the carries. Clemens has all the touchdowns.
Well, it's interesting, though. 33 yards for Drummond. Seems like he's had a lot more. And I'm sure if you're an Ottawa defensive player, you think that, but most of those yards in the second half.
Here's the pinball again, taking the pass and turning it into another Toronto first down.
Well, you know, Pinball knew we were talking about him, said he didn't get the ball much, so he went over there and mentioned that to Doug Glutie. He said, you know, maybe throw one out my way, and I'll see what I can do with it. And you know he's pretty dangerous anytime he touches the football.
18 yards that time. Here's the infraction.
Major foul, face mask, Ottawa number 90, first down.
Frustration starting to show. Swift Birch on a face mask call.
Well, here comes Dwayne Knight, and Swift Birch, number 90 right there, just gets a piece of the face mask of Mike Clemens. And Mike Clemens, when he bends over, I mean, that's really all that Swift Birch can grab. I mean,
a little difference in height, no doubt.
Yeah.
Just outside the 21, Flutie on first down. Retreats. And a chance for the interception. Not quite. Humphreys had an opportunity as Flutie dropped straight back and fired.
Well, I tell you what, Leonard Humphreys did a nice job of coming off his man and helping out Dwayne Knight on the play. Dwayne Knight's responsible for coverage. Here comes Ray Bernard. They're in man-to-man defense. Dwayne Knight is number 44, but he jumps up, was beaten by Drummond, and Leonard Humphreys comes across and helps his linebacker out on the play.
2nd and 10. Argos at the Rough Rider 21. Feed on Flutie. He releases. Mike Clemens. Did he make the catch? He did. Touchdown. Is that a beauty or what? 3rd touchdown of the night for the pinball, Mike Clemens. And this is a beauty.
Well, he came in the league, or in this game, number 3 receiver on the team. I mean, not many times you'll say that Mike Clemens is number 3 receiver. But this is why. And Don Matthews loves to be able to put him out there and use him as that 5th or 6th receiver. Flutie throws it up. Now, he doesn't have a linebacker covering him. That's Frank West, the defensive back, number 5, who is in pretty good position. What a catch by Mike Clemens.
That was beautiful. Pinball's 3rd touchdown of the night. And that was the prettiest. The other 2 have been plunges from 1 and 2 yards out. Vanderjack adds 1 more. And the Argonauts are running away. Not unexpectedly.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. If your name appears below, you may have won the all-new Uniden 25-channel cordless phone and digital answering system. It's loaded with exceptional features, no tapes or moving parts. Uniden, built with quality that really goes the distance. Or durable Macassa stoneware in the lifestyle pattern. It's oven, detergent, microwave, and dishwasher safe. For finest quality dinnerware, stemware, flatware, and gifts, Macassa sets the standard. Touchdown to win ballots available exclusively at all participating Safeway stores.
It's 6 past the hour at the end of another busy Friday.
As the moment approaches, Eat More promises rich, dark toffee, loaded with peanuts. That's not too sweet tasting. When the moment arrives, Eat More promises to take a good, long while. Chew and eat more. Stretch the moment. It's a real, long chew.
The good ship Argonaut is sailing right along.
That's for my beautiful wife, Diane. Hi, hon. My wonderful little daughter, Rachel. You know I love you. See you guys tomorrow. Our partner, Paul. What's up, buddy, Rose?
I think he said hi to everyone tonight.
The family's going to love this replay because here's Mike Clemens right here, and he just takes it down the seam. Nothing fancy about the pattern. Frank Wesson, pretty good coverage as he closes the distance right there. But watch the catch as Clemens is going down to the ground, right on his back, over the shoulder, and pulls that one down like the best of the receivers in the Canadian Football League. Remember, Clemens is a tailback. Didn't look like it on that play.
He's got the biggest smile in football. There's no doubt about that. Henry and Gordon are deep. This is Henry. Oh! Big hit. Reggie Gibbons.
Highlight reel.
Tommy Henry.
Highlight reel.
You can hear that one all over the stadium. 14 yards on the return. Well, he's closing in on Dick Shadow, but he's got a ways to go. Ahead of D.K. Smith as a result of his performance tonight and passing Terry Greer a week or so ago. Rough Riders in a deep hole. Steve Taylor. For Robert Gordon, couldn't hang on. Wanted a flag, didn't get it. Adrian Smith was covering on Gordon that time.
Well, you know, whether or not there was some pass interference, I mean, Adrian Smith gave Robert Gordon a little push in the back. I thought he timed it up pretty well. Robert Gordon's coming right down on the fly pattern. A little push there, but I don't think there was any interference. I think that Adrian Smith timed up his push pretty good, but whether or not Robert Gordon was interfered with doesn't really matter. He's got to come up with this catch. His quarterback's taking a pounding from Tim Cofield. He's got to make that catch. 2nd and 10 Ottawa. Taylor stands in, and Hinchcliffe couldn't make the catch. Tight coverage by Donald Smith. Talk about a defensive back who's had a pretty good football game. Donald Smith has a couple interceptions tonight. Pretty nice knockdown on 2nd down right there to end that Ottawa drive. He's a good cover guy. Was in Memphis last year. Had 5 interceptions with Memphis. And real good cover guy and a smart.
Shutting it down.
A real smart defensive back and really likes to play those zones because he knows how to pattern read. That's just reading what patterns are coming at him, reading the quarterback and jumping on the ball. Lamley with kick to Jimmy Cunningham standing at the Argo 40. Lamley at his own 15. Not deep at all. And no play for Cunningham. So the Rough Riders close at halftime. Not close anymore. They're down by 20 for the Argonauts on home turf in Ottawa.
If you want full office suite power at a word processor price, look no further than Corel Word Perfect Suite. Corel Word Perfect Suite includes an exceptionally intelligent word processor, an award-winning spreadsheet, amazing presentation graphics, plus business graphics and utilities, hundreds of fonts and thousands of clip art images. Corel Word Perfect Suite delivers office suite power at a word processor price.
The definition of radical. To depart from the norm, to stand up for what's important with courage and passion. The definition of Canadian, not American. It's time to stand up and get passionate about your country, its traditions, its future. One of these great traditions is football played the way it was meant to be. Radically Canadian. The Canadian Football League. It's hard-hitting. It's longer, wider, faster football. Every game is an event, a party. More importantly, it's our game and we won't change it for anyone. The CFL, radically Canadian and proud of it. Now you too can be a radical Canadian by wearing radical hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and golf shirts, all from Starter Canada. Get radical from only $19.99. Call 1-800-545-5757. These items aren't available in any store. The only way you can get radical is to call now. Dare to be different. Get radical. Be Canadian. The Canadian Football League, it's radically Canadian. Call 1-800-545-5757 now.
Let's check out Glutie and see where he's gone with the aerial attack tonight. Good on 18 of 32, 320 yards. Another ho-hum night.
Wow, dominant over the middle and to the right side. And guess where Tyrone Williams has lined up tonight? Slot back into the right side. So that's the reason for that dominance.
I'm buying you a ticket on the Ferris wheel right after the game.
Let's go on the roller coaster.
Spin.
Let's go on the roller coaster. Ferris wheel's a little slow.
Glutie stands in and missed the target that time. Looking for Mazzotti, who has not been the receiver of choice this evening, and it's tough for Glutie to get around to all his weapons on every night.
But you get the feeling that he does it. I mean, like how many quarterbacks in the league decide, okay, now I want to find a certain receiver and actually go out and completes the pass? I mean, you know, Tyrone Williams caught a couple now. He knows that Paul Mazzotti's not on the sheet, so he's got to find him a ball. And
Fairholm caught a couple early to set up a touchdown.
Pinball's caught a couple, and the Jets caught a couple. So look for him to try and get the ball to Mazzotti again.
Far side, Drummond caught it twice and held on. Bobbled it for a split second away from Dwayne Knights. And Humphreys made the tackle. There's a marker down in the Ottawa secondary.
Pass interference against Toronto.
Forward pass interference. Toronto number 18. Repeat, second down.
You saw Fairholm was standing right beside the official trying to get the exact explanation as to what he did on the play.
He looks innocent to me.
That's the key. Always look innocent. Wasn't me. I had my man. Wasn't me.
Mazzotti to the near side. Argos looking at 2nd and 20. Glutie unloads in a hurry for Cunningham, far side. Didn't get the block he needed to escape Dwayne Knights, who's been active in the Ottawa defense tonight. Made the stop that time.
Yeah, talking to Don Matthews about Doug Glutie. You look at the numbers in 1996, the projections that he has going over the course of the season.
Took two guys to do that, Barnes and Holloway in '84. That was a pretty good combination, wasn't it?
Well, he's on pace to have another 6,000-yard passing season. 3 quarterbacks have ever done that in the history of the league.
Henry and Gordon are deep. Got away from both of them. Now Gordon tracks it down, leaves it for Henry. No one's going anywhere except perhaps a little further ahead because of penalty markers in the vicinity. A 48-yard punt that time. 10:48 remains. Toronto on top, 39-19.
Hi, I'm Tim. Today, we've secretly disconnected this bartender's draft tabs to make a point. Now, the Bat Genuine draft in a can is the same as keg draft. But can his customers tell the difference? Let's ask.
I can't tell the difference. Can you tell the difference?
You see?
I can't tell the difference. Can you tell the difference?
No. Run the clip.
For the fresh taste of keg draft sealed in a can, Labatt Genuine Draft.
Time for the taste test.
Wait, we can't.
Sealing draft in a beer commercial is against the law.
But we can hold it.
In this clinic, I can't stop for a tough headache. So I asked the doctor.
We talked about different kinds of pain relievers, aspirin and Tylenol. But today, she recommends Advil. It really works fast, and it's tough on pain. Just one Advil's as effective as 2 regular-strength Tylenol. Headache?
No, thanks. I've already got one. Hey.
Advil, for today's tough pain.
It's 6 past the hour at the end of another busy Friday.
As the moment approaches, Eatmore promises rich, dark toffee, loaded with peanuts. That's not too sweet tasting. When the moment arrives, Eatmore promises to take a good, long while. Chew and eat more. Stretch the moment. It's a real, long chew.
Ottawa Rough Riders had a solid second quarter, but it's been downhill ever since. No points in the fourth quarter so far, and only 3 in the second half. It's 39-19. Toronto just rolls along.
Saw there Don Matthews talking to Doug Glutie. He said that Doug Glutie calls all the plays in the offense except for maybe 1 or 2 a game, and the way that Matthews was explaining that little hitch pass there, I think that might have been his call. That might have been one of his only calls during the football game. It didn't work very well, so he's trying to explain exactly there what the heck happened and what you got to do to make it work.
Taylor missed the Duke. James Ellingson. Matthews telling us yesterday that he called 2 plays last week.
Yeah.
Glutie called the rest. The 2 plays Matthews called were 2nd and 1 and a 3rd down gamble, I think.
3rd down
for
gamble.
1 yard.
Yeah, it was about a half a yard on the second one. And he got both first downs and said, hey, I'm perfect in my play calling. He just likes to let Doug Glutie. He knows he has great knowledge of the system and just wants to let him go ahead and call his own plays.
Robert Gordon made the catch far side. It'll be interesting to see the spot. He's short of the first down. There's the latest Ottawa Rough Rider injury, and when things aren't going very well, on a night when you lose all of these players, Bill Hess now, the running back for Field Greer, Joseph Rogers, the #1 receiver, and you started the game without your #1 quarterback, David Archer, although Steve Taylor really got them off to a fairly good start moving Ottawa. But he hasn't been able to respond without the weapons that he needs in his offense at all.
Oh, it's Bill Hess's rolled ankle and Joseph Rogers' shoulder problem. He just ran out of weapons, Steve Taylor.
Cunningham waits at the 41. Bernard tracked him down. Great special teams tackle from behind by Bernard, limits the gain and the return to 4 yards.
Well, you know, Doug Glutie loves to have a guy that he can put out there in the receiving corps who's a running back. And look at this. Distribution, 47 catches so far. This is updated right here for Pinball Clemens. 47 catches. Look at this one right here. This is the one that blows me away. It's a pretty good receiver at 36 right there.
And Clemens really had a slow start. First couple of games this season, he wasn't used very effectively by the Argos at all, so he's really come on. Markers down as Clemens makes another catch, so that's 48 on the season if it stands. Spanik tracked him down, number 96. The gain will be 9 yards.
It's pretty amazing when your tailback is leading the league in receptions. Doug Glutie does not like a 2-back offense, and he'll be the first to tell you he wants to spread it out, get his receivers involved. And the nice thing about putting Clements to the outside.
Offside. Ottawa number 91 declined. 2nd down.
When you put Pinball Clements to the outside, the defense doesn't have a chance to make a substitution. They can't put in the extra defensive back, so usually Clements is running against a linebacker, and that's the matchup that Toronto always is looking for, to get a good receiver-type tailback like Pinball Clemens on a linebacker. And you see big Vic Stevenson, the injured ball player, on the ground.
How about Chris Perez?
Oh, I'm sorry, 62.
62. He's at left tackle, Stevenson at right tackle, number 65. So who's the brains behind this operation? Matthews the coach or Glutie the quarterback? I guess might be 50-50 there, huh?
Well, you know, Matthews says he put the playbook together at the beginning of the year, and he gave Doug Glutie all kinds of options. Like we talked about the two-back offense. Well, he has that in the playbook. He has the spread offense in the playbook. But Doug Glutie is the guy who runs the show on the football field. So he has the whole playbook to draw from, but Don Matthews leaves it completely up to his starting quarterback to decide which one of those plays he wants to go to in any situation.
A reminder to join us tomorrow night, Calgary Stampeders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Gord Miller and Lee Pedersen will be at Iverwin for that one.
Well, Alan Pitts just saw that he doesn't have as many receptions as Pinball Clemens. I'm sure he's watching and thought, boy, I need a big game.
You've ticked him off.
Made him mad. I need a big game or else I'm going to have a tailback beat me this year.
Second and a yard to go, and it might have sprung free for Ottawa. West appears to have come up with it.
I think Robert Drummond, who was the one who fumbled that football, looked like on the exchange from Doug Glutie. I think he jumped before he actually had the ball. I mean, it was a short yardage situation. Short yardage situation, and Drummond wants to try and get up over the top. He goes up high. Well, there it is right there, and the ball comes loose. No hands. So he actually did have control of the football when he went up over, and it was just knocked out of the hands of Drummond by Ray Bernard, who went up over the top. But here's the jump. He does have control. Ray Bernard gets his hand in there. Defensive back Frank West comes up with a fumble recovery.
Turnover goes to Ottawa. It'll be first down. Ellingson spun right out of his shoes almost. He spun around.
The turf monster got him.
He was spinning and just lost his balance.
Well, maybe
a little hole down there.
Maybe the Duke was riding some of those rides in the exhibition before the game and got a little dizzy because went back to it here, spun around. The turf monster gets him. He hits the ground, and then all you have to do is touch him. It was a good job just to catch that football because it was thrown quite a bit behind him. Quite the dance moves there.
Yeah, not bad at all. 2nd and 7. Taylor with time. Oh, yeah. Gordon can't hang on. Tight coverage. Adrian Smith was with him stride for stride. 1 sack, 1 interception in the season.
Well, they got to go for it. I mean, sorry, John. They got to take a gamble here and try and pick up this first down. And Adrian Smith as well as Donald Smith, the two Smiths on the two corners right here. You see the arm come out. Adrian Smith just knocks that one down and was step for step with Robert Gordon over every inch of that pass pattern.
Robert Gordon near side. This is a gamble for Ottawa. 3rd and 7. Not much to lose. Trailing 39-19. Taylor can't find anyone. Now fires into the middle, and Gordon couldn't bring it down. There's a marker near midfield. Murphy was covering on Gordon, or had moved over to cover Gordon. Let's see a little holding here.
Holding. Ottawa number 69. Decline. First down.
Chuck Esty.
Well, Chuck Esty is right here in the screen. Let's see if he's guilty of the holding call right here. Well, Rob Woldrup trying to get to the outside, and you can see the tackle job right there by Chuck Esty. It's only holding if they catch it.
Yeah, they definitely caught it there.
They caught it that time.
You could see it from row 88. Glutie shovels it ahead, and Drummond is decked as he took the pass. Jeff Cummins got to Drummond, and he'll be a little woozy, I would think. He's smiling.
They tried the old shovel pass to Robert Drummond, but Jeff Cummins almost took his head off. And look at that helmet. Look at Robert Drummond's helmet. I mean, he's had some marks on it. See the top of his helmet right there. That's some heavy hitting going on in the middle. He gets some hard yards, and he's done a pretty good job in this second half of getting his team in second and short situations and pounding that ball up in there.
2nd and 10, 6:56 to go, fourth quarter. Toronto in control. Heat for Glutie. He got it away. Missed Drummond, though, with Bernard covering.
Doug Glutie's going, okay, now if you come a little more into the middle, it's a touchdown. Puts up the touchdown single. Just missed his receiver on that play.
Not that time. Well, we have a moment. Best wishes for a speedy recovery to Denny Lamont, who's recovering in a Montreal hospital. Argo President Bob Nicholson remembers to send along his best wishes. Vanderjack at his 30. Henry and Gordon deep. Gordon is going to be tired after this one. Long run for a few yards. Join us for the Senior PGA coverage tomorrow afternoon. 2 Eastern Time, 11 Pacific. The Northville Long Island Classic. .6:24 still remaining in this one at Frank Clair Stadium as the Ottawa Rough Riders. We're close at halftime. It hasn't been a contest since then. Gordon makes the catch and surrounded by a couple of Argos, led by Ken Benson, 37.
Well, Ottawa stuck with them for the first half, had some injury problems, a couple key receivers. Tailback Rafael Greer goes out. Robert Gordon gets the whole workload. See him tired. They didn't start David Archer. John Payne decided that a healthy Steve Taylor was the better decision. Archer's a little bit banged up, and with those injuries, Steve Taylor's had to try and battle and try and find an open receiver. It's been tough when his star receivers aren't in the lineup.
He's hit on 50%, but the numbers aren't quite high enough. 219 yards. Maybe a few more here. Bolduc made the catch. And Mako made the tackle. And to round out a tough evening in Ottawa one more time, the Flying Elvises were supposed to parachute in here at halftime, and the show was canceled because it was too breezy.
I thought I saw an Elvis. I thought there was an Elvis sighting. You see George Namako getting the chance to play some free safety. The starter's Dan Murphy, but Namako had the nice punt block early and actually was the thing that turned the tide in this football game, and comes up and makes a tackle there.
Gain is 18. Taylor tracked down from behind by Eaglin and caught by Noah Cantor. He gets a chance to get a little playing time now with the Argos in control. Cantor out of St. Mary's in his second season. 10 special team tackles in 1995, and he's an Ottawa native, getting an opportunity like Namako to play before the hometown fans.
Yeah, this is the point of the game. You got the lead. You try and protect from the injury situation some of your stars like a Tim Cofield and some of the other good defensive players. So you put in the backups and let them get some playing experience, just in case you need them in the real thick of things in a real game, in a game that's still up for grabs.
Taylor mishandled the snap, and he's almost intercepted, looking for Gordon. Donald Smith. A couple of interceptions earlier almost made it a very memorable night.
Tried for the hat trick.
4:44 to go in the final quarter. John Payne still trying to get a little offense going for the Ottawa Rough Riders. It's pretty hard to assess the blame in this one tonight to the team as a whole, with so many of the starters out of the lineup already.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple of mistakes made by Ottawa. They throw an interception just before the half. That costs them 3 points, and then they allow a punt to get blocked. When you don't block George Namako coming off the corner, that punt is blocked. It gets a touchdown for Toronto. 2 key mistakes, and against good teams, you just can't make mistakes like that.
Cunningham, and he got a good block on Bernard to spring him free for a few more. Knocked out by Sammy Brennan. Again, great field position for the Argos. And again, Mark Bunting in the midway.
All right,
John. I'm over at the Energy 1200 booth, and you know, it's been a long time since my college days at Indiana playing basketball, and I'm kind of curious what my leaping ability is like right now. I want to see if the hammies and the quads are still working, so I'm going to check it out. Give me a second here, okay? Oh, web reporters can jump. Back to you guys.
No, that's
you know
cute
what?
stuff. I like that a lot better than the snake.
You know what, though? I want full marks for our producer, Paul McLean. That was some great trick photography.
That wasn't a trick.
No way. He was dunking those bats.
Television?
He wasn't dunking those bats.
You can tell when it's faked. That was real stuff. Bunting used to play.
Yeah. He can leap. Sign him up.
Another Ottawa injury as you check along the bench and try and find a healthy body down there. Nick Richards, a backup linebacker, is down.
He's kind of looking like a calf or a hamstring injury, and you see him trying to reach out to try and get the jet. When he reaches there, he reaches back for his leg. Might have just pulled a muscle or stretched a muscle trying to reach out and grab the jet. She went down the sideline.
This could be a while before he gets off the field.
Been in Ottawa a couple years. Last year had 13 special teams tackles. And primarily a special teams player for the Ottawa Rough Riders, Nick Richards. One of the new linebackers they're trying to develop for the future.
Another long night on the Ottawa bench.
Well, you know what John Payne does now. I mean, they have to face the same team next week. Tried to do the old quarterback switch to catch him off guard. Worked for a half. And then Toronto got on track and this game was over. But what John Payne wants to do now is just go back to the drawing board, look at the first half game film, look at some of the things they did well and had success with when all their starters were in the lineup, and then go back to that and see if they can get some guys healthy for next week. And Markel Fleetwood gets a chance to play. You're talking about backups earlier.
You sound like Anthony Robbins.
I wish I had his money.
Put the positive spin on it here. There's not much positive we can say about that Ottawa situation right now. Nobody healthy over there, and they have one win in 8 games. This being number 8, and the pinball has about 5 yards.
Well, now it's just pad your stats. I mean, for Toronto, and you see Nick Richards won't get a chance to pad any stats as he's probably going to sit the rest of this one out.
Who's left?
Second down,
well, after Mark Bunting was doing those dunks, it might be a call to the X grounds to get him out here.
He's an Ottawa guy. Fleetwood in at quarterback here, as you see. And Clemens gets another call. There's a marker down. 3:12 to go, fourth quarter. What's your take on the handshake that may or may not take place after this one tonight?
Well, I can pretty much guarantee it won't take place.
Holding. Toronto number 64. Repeat second down.
You know, I feel my opinion on that whole situation is that, you know, a lot of guys are ex-teammates here. I know the panel completely agreed that there shouldn't be any shaking hands after the game, but I think you give 100% during the 60 minutes of the football game. Afterwards, if you want to go and shake hands, that's fine. But now, having said that, there's no reason to be smiling while you're shaking guys' hands and saying hi to them. You might have friends or ex-teammates over on the other side. Go ahead, shake their hand. There's nothing to be happy about when you get blown out.
2nd and 14. Fleetwood finds Mike Clemens. He escaped once, twice, and it's forced out by Henry. Or by Frank West, I should say, number 5. Well, a handshake story we'll watch for at the conclusion of this game and see exactly how the Ottawa Rough Riders handle things after what their president, Jim Durrell, said earlier in the week. Argos have every reason to smile. They lead it by 20. They're beating the spread.
They're coming for me.
The creators of Tales from the Crypt have unearthed a story so terrifying it can only be seen on the big screen.
starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
Sometimes you come to regret the decisions you've made in life, but not when you choose Yokohama Performance Radials. With over 75 years of tire engineering excellence and long-lasting traction, they give you control when you need it most, no matter what the driving conditions, wet or dry. Yokohama Performance Radials. Now you've got control.
Final numbers on Flutie as it stands, at least right now. I doubt if he'll be back. 21 of 37, 334, a couple of touchdowns, 1 interception. Fleetwood at the controls right now, and Flutie talking it over. This guy went to the Glenn Suter School of Safeties.
No, he didn't, especially not on this play. Gets kind of manhandled a little bit right there.
J.D. Jacobitz.
Yeah, he had some problems in Winnipeg. Got beat for a couple touchdowns, and Jason Jacobic's having a rough ride on that last play.
How many winters did you run that safety school?
It's just enough for me to figure out what I was supposed to do, other than try and tell someone else how to do it.
Fleetwood on third down and inches. The Argos will keep this drive going. 2:24 to play. And the Rough Riders have little time to regroup before taking on Toronto next Saturday in Toronto.
Well, who's the best team in the Canadian Football League as it stands right now?
Nice question.
Hey?
I think these guys are looking awful solid, and the Stampeders are too, but the Argonauts have dominated. Robert Drummond, there's no one in front of him. It was a pretty easy run around the right side. Henry finally slows him down.
It really is pretty amazing what the Argos have done. I mean, you bring in Don Matthews, a pretty good running back in Robert Drummond, and then add Doug Glutie to the mix. There's Matthews. He adds a couple of players here and there up front. A couple of players here and there, including arguably the best quarterback in the Canadian Football League in its history in Doug Glutie. And all of a sudden, you go from a pretty poor team to an awfully good one in 1 year.
Matthews said yesterday his team was rested, healthy, relaxed, and loose. And I think that pretty well
Don Matthews' teams are always relaxed when they hit the field.
Mike Clemens with 1:31 to go, fourth quarter. I think we'll chalk this up in Toronto's favor and make it 7-1. 14 points. Montreal standing at 4-4. Hamilton 4-3 for 8 points, and Ottawa back to 1-7.
What a difference a couple of guys make. Don Matthews and Doug Glutie.
The Rough Riders' marquee quarterback David Archer did not take a snap tonight. Drummond caught in the backfield. Junior Tagoya. Stampeders lead the parade in the CFL West at 6-1. Decent test against Hamilton coming up tomorrow night, but the Tiger Cats are hurting in several areas, not the least of which is behind the center.
That's the next game. You know, Calgary's going to want to go out and prove. We just talked about who's the best team. Well, you know, they're going to want to go out and prove. We were doing that BC Lions game with the Calgary Stampeders, and the comment was made, Jeff Garcia in Calgary, they're saying, Doug who? Well, I can guarantee in Toronto, they know his last name.
I think they do. He's holding for Vanderjack. And then 3 more. Make it 42-19. Mercifully for the Ottawa Rough Riders, only 44 seconds to go till the final gun in this one.
You know, just thinking back about those standings, John, I mean, Saskatchewan Rough Riders are at 2-4, and they have a big game with Edmonton in a couple of days. And remember, they're fighting for a playoff spot for the 3rd place to beat the record of the team in the East in 3rd place. Remember that wild card position in the playoff race. So the fight is still on for the BC Lions. As a matter of fact, they could still mathematically obviously make it. And
Sean Daniels took the pass, put his head down, and took the hit, but it looks like Eaglin might have come out of it a little worse for wear. Daniels is a big guy. 6'1", 215, and he met Eaglin almost helmet to helmet down there. 36 seconds remaining. Chalk up another loss for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, it's tough. They talked about that they wanted to split against the Toronto Argos in this home-and-home series.
But it's still possible.
It is still possible, although they wanted to try and do it in home in front of their biggest crowd of the year and to get that first one and then have to go to Toronto. It's always harder to win not only the second game but in the other team's park. So they wanted to get the first one. That's not going to happen, but they still do have a chance to get the split, although a very slim.
Yeah, if you're 19-point underdogs on home turf,
a very slim chance.
I wonder what you might be at Skydome.
You're going to see the injury right now. He's going to make the tackle on Sean Daniels, catches the ball out in the flat, and then just lowers his shoulder and head, and it was the nail, not the hammer, as Daniels hits him.
Well, we have a moment. Tonight's Corral radically Canadian player of the game on defense, Donald Smith.
Hey, a couple picks for Donald Smith. Early in the football game to snuff out Ottawa Rough Rider drives and take away points, get his team momentum.
And who do you like on offense, 31?
I like 31. Comes out of the backfield, leading the league in receptions, has a few touchdowns tonight. Always gives you 110%. He's always a great pick. Mike Clemens.
Everybody back in Toronto, all the fans, you're some great fans now. Make sure you're there next Saturday because it's going to be more fun than this tonight. Robert Drummond is a man. He's a man. He's a bad boy. You better watch out for him.
We do it together. We do it together.
Pinball does live commercials.
I was going to say
on the sidelines. He's perfect.
The MVP ambassador of the Canadian Football League, Mike Pinball Clemens.
Steve Taylor. Seemed like a silly thing to do with about 4 seconds to go. He might have gone down a little sooner rather than take the hit. This one is over. Well, the interesting thing right now is to watch the Ottawa Rough Rider players and how they react to a suggestion from their president earlier in the week, Jim Dureau, about not shaking hands after a tough loss or a devastating loss. The only problem with this is for Ottawa, you don't shake hands after games, you're not going to meet anybody because they are after losses. You won't get to meet anyone.
Well, John Payne, you know, I mean, what they wanted to do by it, I'm sure, and the whole point of the whole thing is to show the fans here in Ottawa that they do care about winning. They're giving their effort, and they're very disappointed when they lose. And believe me, even if they do smile on the sideline, those guys are all professionals in the Ottawa Rough Rider bench, and when they lose, it hurts. It hurts for the whole week until you can play again. It doesn't matter what your record is, it always hurts to lose. So no matter if you smile, I guarantee you, in their hearts, they feel like they can feel that loss. But when you're on TV and you're laughing, it doesn't look that way, and that's what they want to stop by not having the handshaking at the end.
Law, please.
That'll be it. Final gun at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa. The Ottawa Rough Riders drop to 1-7. Don Matthews and the Argonauts go to 7-1. For now, the best record in the Canadian Football League. The coach.
Well, the coaches shook hands. Little bit of handshaking going on. But for the most part, Ottawa is in the locker room.
Most of the players have headed in that direction. Toronto, simply too powerful. The final score, 42-19. Ottawa in it till halftime, but not 5 seconds after that.
My name is John McMulkin.
My name is Peter May.
and our company builds dinosaurs. I'm the numbers man.
I guess come in, build a dinosaur, and go home. But we have clients all over the world.
International communication via the telephone, that is our link to our clients. We have to be competitive in our pricing. Advantage helps us to save those costs that are necessary.
And ensure we don't go extinct.
Advantage, providing solutions for business.
I'm Jim McKay with an update from the 2020 Global Games. Graduated hurdles rose, but Great Britain fell. Nathan Rudder grabbed the ring and the gold for the U.S. Earlier today, Caswell Fowler executed the first perfect 10 multiple board dive.
The world of sports is ever evolving, but athletes of today can choose All Sports Body Quencher for fluid replacement, unsurpassed taste, thirst-quenching flavors.
Coming up later, the record-breaking 300-meter dolphin relay.
Great football. Great software. Join the winning team. It's unbeatable.
Fans. When you're hitting, they love you. When you're not, they just as soon as spit on you as look at you.
Imagine someone so devoted to you.
Go, Bobby!
You're everything he lives for.
Bobby, I'm watching you.
And the one thing
Surprise, surprise.
he'd kill for.
What do you want from me?
De Niro.
Well, every time they think of you, they're going to think of me.
Snipes. The Fan. At theaters Friday.
The block of the game is brought to you by Pepsid AC. You can be heartburn-free with Pepsid AC.
Comes in the second half, backup free safety. George Nemeko comes off the corner. Great speed. Chris Sangaris can't get him. Lays out, blocks the punt. Greg Eaglin comes up with the touchdown fumble recovery. Most exciting play in football, the block punt.
That would have been the turning point in this one as well. 42-19. Toronto over Ottawa. The Rough Riders have more problems and lots of injuries.
If you want full office suite power at a word processor price, look no further than Corel WordPerfect Suite. Corel WordPerfect Suite includes an exceptionally intelligent word processor, an award-winning spreadsheet, amazing presentation graphics, plus business graphics and utilities, hundreds of fonts and thousands of clip art images. Corel WordPerfect Suite delivers office suite power at a word processor price.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to win. If your name appears below, you may have won a Daewoo 27-inch stereo TV or Timex His and Her Indiglow watches. Touchdown to win ballots available at all participating Safeway stores.
Well, gentlemen, it was just a matter of time. The Toronto Argonauts are too good of a football team to be held under wraps for 4 quarters of play, and Ottawa not capable of doing that.
Yeah, and Darren, a lot more surprising than the Ottawa Rough Riders' performance today was the fact that John Payne defied his boss's orders immediately after the game. He went out and he shook Don Matthews' hands. This team is very unpredictable. I mean, at the beginning of the game, we were talking about what a great game David Archer is going to have. And David Archer doesn't play. All week long, we're told David Archer is going to play. Steve?
7th season of ABC's Monday Night Football. A terrific opening for you. We come into tonight's game with Chicago Bears, looking to find out if the changes they have made are going to turn this team around a little bit. They were 9-7 a year ago. They finished behind Green Bay. They finished behind Detroit. They've made a lot of changes, particularly on defense. They're going to find out about those changes tonight.